Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have the greatest sporting attendance in the history of Wembley Stadium with 96,000 fans. We thank you and we welcome you to Riyadh Season Card Wembley Edition and the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World. It's presented by Riyadh Season and the General Entertainment Authority, with Frank Warren for Queensbury Promotions and Eddie Hurd for Matchroom Boxing, in partnership with Gold Star Promotions and Sella. Sponsored by Visit Saudi, Suleiman Al Habib Hospital, Saudi Airlines, Red Sea Global, Diriyah, and Middle Beast. This contest sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, Chairman and Supervisor Charles Giles, and the International Boxing Federation, President Darrell J. Peoples, Supervisor at ringside, Massimiliano Bianco, timekeeper at the bell, Mark Shannon, the three judges scoring, Howard Foster, Steve Gray, and Bob Williams, and inside the ring in charge of the action at the bell, World Championship veteran referee, Marcus McDonald. And now, the officials are in place and they are ready. The fighters are in the ring and they are ready. So for the sold out 96,000 fans here at Wembley Stadium and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner with his head trainer Don Charles, wearing black, official weight 248.6 pounds. His professional record is an outstanding one. 23 fights, 21 victories, and 20 of those 21 wins by knockout, and he has 2 defeats. From Greenwich, London, England, the two-time heavyweight world champion, the reigning, defending IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois. And across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, with his head trainer Ben Davison, wearing white and officially weighing in at 252.5 pounds. He's an Olympic gold medal champion, now with professional records standing at 31 fights, 28 victories, 25 of those 28 by knockout, with 3 defeats. From Watford, England, the challenger, the two-time heavyweight champion of the world, AJ Anthony Joshua.
You're listening to World Championship Heavyweight Boxing on BBC 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Marcus McDonald with the final instruction.
Any questions? Let's go to work.
The most cursory touch of gloves at the conclusion of those final instructions from Marcus McDonald. And now 2 world-class boxers, each blessed with concussive KO power, combined with chins that have proved vulnerable in the past, make this a compelling, combustible encounter that could well be a case of who cracks first. As Daniel Dubois defends his IBF World Heavyweight title against former 2-time kingpin Anthony Joshua.
Round 1.
We are underway, this biggest British boxing match of all time in this battle for the IBF heavyweight world title between the champion Daniel Dubois, wearing black trunks trimmed with white, making the first defense of the IBF crown that he was elevated to after Alexander Usyk relinquished it. He was the former interim champion, and now that's the right hand over the top that catches the former two-time champion Anthony Joshua over by the blue corner, and he just caused it to become a little bit disorganized. But now Anthony Joshua, the taller man, the former two-time champion, has got his boxing stance back beneath him. He's reducing his height, boxing off the back foot, but it's Daniel Dubois aggressively boxing out of center ring behind the right jab, reaches for a right hand over the top once again, and for all of the momentum that Anthony Joshua has brought into this contest, courtesy of two devastating knockouts, Daniel Dubois looking to place doubt into his mind as he lands with a piston-like left jab that jolts the head back of Anthony Joshua once again. Anthony Joshua with his hands around his pecs, he too fighting for that prime piece of fistic real estate at center ring. Just fell short with his own jab, then did score with a jab to catch advancing Daniel Dubois, and these two hulking heavyweights find themselves tessellated in the clinch for the very first time. Referee Marcus McDonald prizes the two men apart and speaks in no uncertain terms to Daniel Dubois, the shorter man at around 6'5" compared to the 6'6" Anthony Joshua, speaking to Dubois about leading with his head during the course of a clinch. Anthony Joshua trying a counter right hand, but it's the champion, the less experienced man, Daniel Dubois, who is seeking to get on the front foot, and Anthony Joshua seeking to use that lead left jab as a rangefinder, the stat-nav of the boxing ring, but he's rather pawing with it. Two men fell into a momentary clinch once again, prompting the intervention of referee Marcus McDonald. Daniel Dubois active with his jab, scoring once more, and Anthony Joshua with his hands around his solar plexus now, leaving his chin as an open target. There's an overhand right which scored from Anthony Joshua, landed with a scoring effectiveness but didn't get full purchase on it, as Dubois reaching for a left jab once again. He active with his hands, comes forward behind a scoring left jab and a right hand that was rather blocked by the left hand. And now Marcus McDonald is called time. He has called time and is reading the riot act in the direction of the champion Daniel Dubois, because he led in with his head once again as he looked to get rough and physical on the inside. 30 seconds remaining in this opening round, an action-packed opening round where Daniel Dubois has more often than not been the aggressor. Oh, that's a beautifully picked right uppercut from Anthony Joshua. Daniel Dubois stepped forward with a jab, and then an overhand right attempted by Joshua on the resumption. Oh, a right hand from Daniel Dubois checks the chin of Anthony Joshua, and the former champion is down. He's back on his feet. He's looking at Marcus McDonald with a phlegmatic expression, but I don't think his legs are beneath him. And that bell sounding not a moment too soon, because Daniel Dubois depositing Anthony Joshua on the canvas in the closing seconds of the first round with a thunderous overhand right.
What a shot right at the end of the, is he going to be saved by the bell here? Fantastic shot. He really established his jab. AJ looked timid. He looked like he wasn't committing. What a shot, George.
Oh, it was an incredible shot, but you could see it coming. Daniel Dubois starts so fast. That right hand that lands right on the button, and the bell definitely saves Anthony Joshua there. He makes it to his feet, but it would have been, as soon as referee Marcus McDonald says box, they would have came together. It was one shot away from a finish. But Shane, Dubois is landing the jab. He's finding that rangefinder so he can let that right hand go with confidence. Joshua, he can't find the range of his jab, so that until he does that.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, for me, he's got to go and run. He's got to survive. He's got to grab and get through this next two rounds.
Into the second round we go. Both boxers, while the sound of the bell was still reverberating around this capacity-filled Wembley Stadium, reached out and scored with a left jab. But Daniel Dubois looking to maraud his way forwards now, going in pursuit of a man that he knows he can deck and that he knows he can hurt. Daniel Dubois with confidence coursing through his veins, looks for the overhand right once again, and left hook scratching home. Anthony Joshua pinned to the rope just above our commentary position, and now the left hook dips his knees, and these are desperate moments for the former two-time champion. Daniel Dubois rampaging his way forward, and Tony Bellew up out of his seat, imploring his friend Anthony Joshua to claim Daniel Dubois. Dubois lands another right hand after Anthony Joshua's attempted right cross went long. And can Daniel Dubois demonstrate the coolness of heart and coldness of mind to get his man out of there. Minute has gone in the second round, and Daniel Dubois continuing to find a home for his overhand right. Anthony Joshua trying to get some movement back into his legs, moving laterally, but as Dubois came in, Anthony Joshua dropped his head and clung on like a koala as he claimed him around the waist. Marcus McDonald prizes the two men apart, and it's Daniel Dubois playing Hunter, another left jab, inconveniences. Anthony Joshua disrupts his balance, and that's why this capacity crowd of 96,000 let out a collective all because the head of AJ was jolted backwards as he was hit by a girder. Terrific use of the lead left jab from Daniel Dubois. There's another scoring jab, and Anthony Joshua not at the races. Daniel Dubois, he's got to remain defensively responsible because remember, AJ, a devastating puncher with a 90% KO ratio. But Daniel Dubois seemingly having no respect as another left hook from Daniel Dubois is partially blocked by the right glove of Anthony Joshua, but have all the doubts, has all of the uncertainty returned to the ring craft of Anthony Joshua after he appeared so dominant, so confident when taking out Otto Wallin and the MMA star Francis Ngannou. Daniel Dubois doing an outstanding job causing those doubts to resurface, because right now Anthony Joshua perhaps buying time to allow his senses to recover as the two men exchange jabs at centre ring, both men moving clockwise to their left. And for Anthony Joshua, that could be walking on to the powerful backhand of Dubois, who reaches and lands for it once again, and then two left hooks get through. The first one was partially blocked by the right glove of AJ, as AJ lands a massive right hand to check the chin of Daniel Dubois, but he takes it well and he's remaining upright. His father, whose name is Stanley but he's known as Dave, leaning on the ring apron and imploring his man with instructions and encouragement in the direction of Daniel Dubois. The 10-second clapper has sounded. It has been another action-packed back and forth round. What a round, each man having their chin checked.
Definitely. I mean, AJ stood up well. He got caught with a couple of cracking left hooks and right hands over the top, especially on the inside, but he still looks very timid. He needs to now start believing in himself. Daniel's already huffing, isn't he, George? I feel like he needs to keep that pace on, Daniel, and really implement that pressure, because if he lets AJ get back into this fight, it's all to lose.
Well, yeah, both. I mean, Joshua is always going to be one punch away, possibly, from getting that equaliser, sort of getting himself back into this fight. Daniel Dubois wants to go for the quality over the quantity, you know, rather just land that perfect shot, set it up, tease it, don't chase it, because, you know, you get a tremendous first round, you drop the chap in front of you. Believe me, I know, Wembley Stadium, sometimes they hit the floor in the first round, but they bounce back up, and you need to not drown in your own success trying to get the finish. Get behind your boxing, pick that shot, because he still could be one punch away from a spectacular victory.
So into the third round we go. World Championship Boxing here on BBC 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Daniel Dubois reaches and lands a right hand once again, and he dips the knees of Anthony Joshua, who looks to latch on like a limpet once more. They push one another away. Anthony Joshua suggesting that offense, the best form of defense, reached for a right cross, but it was inaccurate, and the two men fell into short range once again. The action is almost exclusively atop the Riyadh season logo in the center of the boxing ring. Daniel Dubois with his hands held wide and high in front of his face. Anthony Joshua shooting out a left jab from around his belt line, but that is what left his chin open, and that is why Daniel Dubois has repeatedly been able to find a home for his overhand right. There's another scoring jab that causes Joshua to sniff, and then a right hand backs Joshua towards his own blue corner on the far side of the ring. He circles out, counterclockwise moving to his right, but Daniel Dubois boxing with incredible composure in this, the biggest fight of his career to date. Reaches for a left jab, but good backward movement from Anthony Joshua. He couldn't avoid the stab jab to the body that followed from Daniel Dubois. Counter right uppercut from Daniel Dubois after he made Anthony Joshua's overhand right fall short. This is wonderful boxing from the young 27-year-old champion, who's boxing with a maturity that is well beyond his 23 fights of experience. And another piston right left jab pushes AJ's chin further back in the air. AJ holding his chin up like a weather vane atop that 6'6" frame. and Daniel Dubois finding it with a variety of straight punches, particularly his left jab. 2 jabs in a row from Anthony Joshua. The right hand now followed it, was ponderous, rather telegraphed. Maybe looks to uncoil the counter right uppercut once again. If it did glance the chin of Dubois, he took it well. Referee Marcus McDonald crowbarred the 2 men apart as Daniel Dubois pursuing his man across the ring. AJ moving laterally and clockwise to his left. His attempted jab falls short and he rugby tackled Daniel Dubois around his torso once again. The action resumes on the edge of range. Double left jab from Daniel Dubois. Saw the second one get through and he's keeping the attack going. And increasingly, all Anthony Joshua is doing is wrapping up his man like a blanket, seeking to gain some respite from the straight shot successes that Daniel Dubois is enjoying. Dubois on the front foot once again, leading off the exchange with a jab. Final word came from AJ with a glancing left hook, but he's not really sitting down on his punches, whereas Daniel Dubois is letting his hands go with real authority. Oh, counter right uppercut. The left hook buckled the knees of Anthony Joshua, and he's down for the second time. Referee Marcus McDonald allows the action to continue as Joshua gets back up to his feet, but he's punched down to the canvas. The count will continue despite the fact that the bell has sounded and Anthony Joshua endured a torrid conclusion to that round, saved by the bell for the second time in the contest, deposited by the marauding attack of Daniel Dubois.
Just as you thought that Anthony Joshua was getting himself back into that fight, he just gets caught with the last 10 seconds with a fantastic barrage of punches and almost game over. You know, what do you think, George? Is he going to recover from that?
I can't see it, Shane, I can't see it. When Dubois gets on his jab and he lands that jab once, twice, he knows he's got the measure for that big right hand that comes. But he's got power in both hands, Shane. As you know, you train him for so long. He's bringing the shots up through the middle, round the sides. It's almost at times Joshua's just a sitting target. I mean, to his credit, he beat the count again, but saved by the bell, certainly.
Out of the 2 of them, he's definitely the more comfortable in combat, Daniel.
So the bell sounds to begin round number 4, and Daniel Dubois lands a left hook which deposits Anthony Joshua on the canvas for the 3rd time in the contest. But unlike the previous 2 knockdowns, it landed in the first 10 seconds of the round, and there are 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. Anthony Joshua back into the breach, and he's in desperate trouble as Dubois barrels him over to the canvas once again, and this contest is over. Daniel Dubois, ruled as no knockdown. I thought Marcus McDonald had waved it off. Anthony Joshua back into the breach, but Daniel Dubois teeing off on his man. Anthony Joshua offering about as much resistance as a heavy bag right now. Daniel Dubois continuing to pursue him, and Anthony Joshua moving as though he is wading through wet concrete. His feet appear leaden, his hands appear painfully slow, and Daniel Dubois goes in search of another overhand right, but Anthony Joshua claims him around the rear of the neck. Minute and 10 seconds gone in this 4th round. Right hand lands on the inside, and all of Anthony Joshua's strength now being put to the test. He's on his bike, on the back foot. A sumptuous left hand sinks into the body from Daniel Dubois. Now referee Marcus McDonald is going to say that this is a low blow, so he has called time, and this is valuable respite for Anthony Joshua. Frank Warren outraged with that call, but on the resumption, more clumping blows landing on the gloves and forearms of Anthony Joshua, and Anthony Joshua in the midst of a nightmare here at the National Stadium, because Daniel Dubois simply will not leave him alone. Anthony Josh's right foot stepped on the bottom rope. His coordination is completely gone. Another left hook cracked him on his chin that is high up in the air, hung out to dry like the laundry on a washing line. Minute remaining in this 4th round. Anthony Joshua uncoiled an uppercut, fighting on instinct, fighting on memory. Only his conditioning and competitive spirit keeping him up now. Daniel Dubois continues to pursue his man, scores with another heavy piston-like left jab. Anthony Joshua breathing through a mouth that is open, moving backwards as he looks for the counter right uppercut once again, but he's not able to find a home for that punch. Still 40 seconds remaining in this incident-filled 4th round, where Anthony Joshua's drop was dropped inside the opening 10 seconds. grinning, sticking his tongue out, trying to get inside the mind of Daniel Dubois, but Daniel Dubois remaining concentrated as he scores with another left jab. Anthony Joshua reaching for a roundhouse right, but couldn't find the range, and now the two men lock arms at mid-range once again. Daniel Dubois remaining focused despite the mugging and gurning antics of Anthony Joshua, who's trying to unsettle the newly elevated champion. There's the 10-second clapper. Thrusting jab to the body landed off the back foot by Daniel Dubois. And now Anthony Joshua guiding Daniel Dubois back to his red corner while he makes the long walk across the ring to the blue corner. Let's listen in to Ben Davison giving instructions to Anthony Joshua.
This is what it's about. We get through this. Fucking warrior spirit. 100%. But we got to be smart.
Yeah, I am.
You rush stepping in with the jab almost every time unless you're galloping around. Snip and bring it up. Yeah?
If there's a bit of a lull, in behind that double jab, bring it up, roll the dice. He'll double now the right hand, lift it, yeah?
Roll the dice.
Roll that dice, innit?
Double in his eyes, bring it
I
up.
think that's dangerous advice there, to be honest. I mean, getting him to bring it up off the double jab. Daniel throws that right hand straight off that double jab. And by bringing it up, he means an uppercut. He's going to walk himself straight onto his short right hand. If you ask me, I'd just say keep your hands up tight, get through these next 2 rounds, and then use your athleticism late down the stretch.
So we move into the 5th round. Apologies if you heard any profanity during those instructions from Ben Davison to Anthony Joshua, but you can understand the emotion and the urgency as he tries to get his man back into this contest, because he has been dropped 3 times in the contest. Round 1, round 3 and round 4. Here we are in the 5th, and Anthony Joshua appearing altogether more solid on his feet now. But can Daniel Dubois cause that doubt to resurface? And he does just that with a right hand right on cue. Anthony Joshua backed up towards his own blue corner and tries to place his forearm beneath the chin of the advancing champion. Referee Marcus McDonald prides that the 2 men were apart once again, and then a right hand from Anthony Joshua causes Daniel Dubois to back up, and another right hand from Joshua, and a huge right uppercut. But during the course of an exchange, a blistering right hand has deposited Anthony Joshua on the canvas. A towel has come in from Ben Davison, and this contest is over. The conclusion of an absolutely extraordinary shootout in the heavyweight division here at the National Stadium is another heavyweight slugfest that will enter the annals of all-time back-and-forth encounters in the heavyweight division. And at the final bell, Daniel Dubois has made a successful first defense of the IBF heavyweight world title and has catapulted himself into the stratosphere of superstars beneath the stars here in northwest London. The winner and still the IBF heavyweight champion of the world is Dynamite Daniel Dubois, dropping his man 4 times en route to a 5th round stoppage. What a shootout, what a contest. Daniel Dubois victorious.
Well, we said leading into the fight, could this be another all-British epic in a fight ring? And even though it only lasted 4.5 rounds, it absolutely was. What a startling, stunning performance from Daniel Dubois. How is Anthony Joshua? He's just a few yards away from us. He was taken by Ben Davison immediately to the nearest resting place, which happened to be Dubois' corner, right in front of us. Dubois has been sitting on Dubois' stool for the last 60 seconds. And now, thankfully, Joshua is on his feet, looking aware, looking in control, but looking like a thoroughly beaten man. Security have had to keep Dubois' family away from the ring, understandably delirious that their man has just won an extraordinary fight, but they can't get in the ring because Joshua is in their corner. And obviously, absolute priority has to be the health of the fighters. When Joshua is undergoing all the medical checks right now, the doctor looking into his eyes, well and truly beaten. But the most extraordinary thing, George Groves, and you can relate to this because you've been in exactly this position, is the knockout came as Joshua just literally just enjoyed his best moment of the fight and hurt Dubois for the first time.
Yeah, and he definitely did hurt Dubois. Dubois' legs stiffened. And Joshua, to his credit, he is a fantastic finisher. And at that point, it looked like he'd got his composure back together, he got his form back together, and he was going in for the finish. But as he does, he goes for the right uppercut, which is such a risky shot. You know, it's one of the most dangerous shots to throw, especially against someone who's a dangerous left hooker. But Joshua, he's that fraction too slow. Dubois lands first. It's a clean shot, and there was no chance that Anthony Joshua was going to beat the count. Cornerman straight in, try and pick him up and help him out.
And the towel actually came in as the referee was waving it off. Ben Davidson had seen enough. Frankly, that towel could have come in during the previous round. But I have to say, we build him as one of the most astute readers of this sport. Shane McGuigan's done it again, because ahead of that round, you called it, sir. You said that was dangerous advice, to go for the uppercut, which is exactly what Joshua has done, and he's been caught cold, and he's out, and who knows, that could be it for his career.
You know, as we said, it's an incredibly dangerous shot to lead with an uppercut, because especially with a puncher like Daniel Dubois, all he's got to do is half hit you on the chin, and he's putting you to sleep. And that's exactly what he did. He just timed a little short right hand over the top, and it was good night. Where does Anthony Joshua go from here? He's rebuilt himself a few times, but he's never been knocked out like that. And I think that has to be the end for Anthony Joshua, because he can't go into any fights from now on with confidence.
Let's get the official verdict, and then I'm sure we'll be hearing from Daniel Dubois. Both men standing in the centre of the ring. Joshua looks completely shell-shocked, but he says, well played. We can see him, we can lip read.
Ladies and
well
gentlemen,
played,
here
he says to
at Wembley
Dubois twice.
Stadium, this contest comes to an end officially at 59 seconds, round number 5. The winner by knockout victory, and still IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Triple D, Daniel Dynamite Dubois.
Anthony Joshua applauds. He applauds, and there's an embrace. I don't feel I've seen Dubois celebrate yet. I wonder when that's coming, Ronald. But it'll be coming very soon, because he has just propelled himself into superstardom.
Most certainly, it was absolutely extraordinary. And well, let's listen to the in-ring interview with the man who's still champion.
Right, they'll question him about this IBF belt. I think you answered all those questions tonight.
I've only got a few words to say, man. You know, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I know you're a man of few words, and you know, all week I've been letting you off for saying a few words, but I want you to say a lot more now, because this is an incredible moment. Your younger brother's here with you. Not many people predicted that. I think with what you've done in the last 12 months, Filip Hrgović, Jarrell Miller, now Anthony Joshua, you're 100% the fighter of the year. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. You know, it's been a long journey. I'm grateful to be in this position. God bless.
It seemed to be a bit of a fight towards the end there. AJ looked like he had you hurt, and then you landed that beautiful shot as well. Was it a case of, let's just have a fight? Forget a boxing match, let's just have a fight?
No, I'm a gladiator. You know, I'm just a warrior to the end, to the bitter end, and I'm just ready to go. You know, I want to go to the top level of this game and reach my full potential. God bless you all.
What has been the big change, Daniel? Again, this has been an incredible 12 months for you. Obviously, you got a new camp with Don Charles. But what's been the big change with you? This big turnaround in performances. Again, Hrgović, Jarrell Miller, now a former unified heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua. What's been the turnaround?
Just, you know, behind the scenes, to work with my dad, you know, all my family, and, you know, my strong team here. They've helped me get through this, so God bless you all, man.
Do you prefer to be the underdog? You've been the underdog in your last 3 fights. Not many people in the 96,000 that were here picked you to win. Does that give you that drive because people are picking against you?
You know, I've just been on a roller coaster ride, and this is my time. That's my redemption story, and, you know, I'm not going to stop until I reach my full potential.
Let me have a word with your promoter. Don't go anywhere, Daniel. Frank, I mean, you've had some special nights, Frank, as a promoter. Me and you spoke all week, and I said, would this be your biggest night? Just because of the magnitude and who it was against. What's your answer now, Frank?
Well, the magnitude of it was phenomenal, and it was a phenomenal fight. And I always felt it would be a Hagler-Hearn situation, and that's what it was. Two guys give everything. It takes two people to make a fight like that. A great champion and AJ. AJ absolutely contributed, showed his heart right to the end, but it was just a brilliant, brilliant fight. And obviously I'm pleased because my man's won, and I've had faith in him from the beginning. I always felt he would do it, and he's done it.
So many have questioned Daniel's mental strength over the years, right? That fight against Joe Joyce, the fight against Alexander Usyk, he's shown so much mental fortitude in the last 12 months. You've backed him in that time as well. What's it been? Why the turnaround?
It's not a turnaround, it was there. He was a young man. He had double fractures of his eye. He couldn't fight. That was it. He couldn't fight on against Joe Joyce. That's the end of it. And it was what it was. And he's come back from that. And Alexander Usyk was, you know, he's considered to be at the moment the best heavyweight in the world. And he gave him at that time his toughest fight. There's no doubt about that. He hurt him. I'd like to see him fight him now. But obviously he's got to fight Tyson first, and I think Tyson will take his scalp. But it's you know, he's done brilliantly, and it's at his age now. I mean, everybody here see a champion's performance tonight. Two great fighters in the ring and a champion's performance. And you know, he's done everything that's been asked of him. Showed his courage, his skills, his resilience. I mean, AJ caught him with a shot over there. I mean, I've got to be honest, I was worried about that, and I'll tell you from my heart, I was worried about that. But, you know, he caught him with a counter, and that's what it was. But what a fabulous, fantastic fight by both the guys.
Final one from you, Frank. There's always a plan, right? There's always a what next question. I'm going to ask that next. If AJ won, there was a lot of talk about an undisputed. Now that your boy Daniel's won, what next for Daniel?
Well, we're going to sit down and think about it and see the outcome of the fight on the 21st of December at the Riyadh season show, and then we'll make some decisions. But he'll want to be busy. He may want to be out the game before Christmas. We'll see. But whatever happens, we'll keep him busy. He's a young man, and he's at the top of his game. And I think there's more to come, by the way. I shouldn't say he's the top of his game. He's the top of his game tonight, but I think he'll improve as a fighter on the strength of these last few results.
Thank you very much, Frank. Thank you. AJ, let's have a few words, Anthony. We knew that this was going to be a tough fight, right? Regardless of what the bookies said and what the casual boxing fans said, it was always going to be a tough fight for you, AJ. What went wrong there tonight?
The opponent, but credit to him and his team. We rolled the dice at success and we come up short. But I want to say, everyone in Wembley, I appreciate you coming out this evening. You know I'm pissed. You know I'm ready to kick off in the ring, but I'm going to keep my cool and keep very professional and give the respect to my opponent.
We've seen you come back from defeats before, right? To win titles before. We've seen you rebuild before as well. I know it's a tough question to ask after that type of fight, but we are going to see another rebuild, aren't we, AJ?
Yeah, I think, you know what it is, before I came here, I'm always saying to myself, I'm a fighter for life. We rolled the dice at success and we came up short, and we roll it again, innit? If you know what I mean. We keep rolling the dice.
Was it mistakes in there tonight, or was Daniel Dubois just too sharp, too fast?
If I'm honest, it's a bit of a mix. I had a sharp opponent, a fast opponent, and secondly, a lot of mistakes from my end. But that's the game. As pissed off as I am, it is what it is.
It is what it is. As you say, you rolled the dice. Your numbers didn't come up today, but I'm sure they're going to come up in the future. Congratulations on a good performance. That was a firefight. Eddie, very quickly. Eddie, I know, obviously, very, very disappointed. It turned into a firefight, right? A lot of people said this could be a Hagler-Hearn type fight, and when you fight like that, you just never know. Both of them throwing heavy, heavy shots, and one of them was going to land, and unfortunately for your man, it was Daniel that landed more.
Well, it was the first round. You know, it was a huge right hand that AJ shipped in the first round, and after that, he was fighting on heart and desire. I'm so proud of him because he never gave up. His legs were deceiving him, and he just kept on trying. And at the end of the fourth round, he hurt Daniel Dubois. And in the fifth round, he really hurt Daniel Dubois. And then he got greedy and walked straight onto a right hand, and that's all she wrote. You know, when you're in there with a massive puncher, this is what can happen. But, you know, AJ never gave up. He never stopped trying to get up, even when he couldn't get up. And I think a massive, massive congratulations to Daniel Dubois, because people doubted him. And, you know, he was the champion, but really the B-side coming into the fight. And he deserves credit now as a real world champion, because that was a great performance. And if we're going to losing to a British heavyweight makes it feel better. So congratulations for him, but very proud of Anthony Joshua, who just never gave up.
Eddie, final one. I know it's been a long night. I asked AJ about the rebuild. He says, look, and he seemed very confident that he will be back. You've always been part of that rebuild as well. You know how difficult it is. We are going to see AJ again in the ring, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll exercise that rematch clause. I mean, I think that's a given, but he'll need a rest. And it's a dangerous fight. This guy's growing in confidence all the time. But he'll believe he can hurt Dubois. He'll believe he can beat him. But full credit to Daniel Dubois. He deserves all the credit tonight. It was a great performance from Daniel.
Daniel, final one from you, the champion. If you can name one name, Daniel, as to who you would want to fight next, Eddie said potentially a rematch. Who would you want to fight next? One name.
You know, all the best. Maybe Usyk, a big shot out of, you know, my redemption. So anyone can get it, you know. God bless you all.
God bless you as well. Congratulations, Daniel. Fantastic performance. Well done.
Adi Oladipo with the questions in the ring. The champion, Daniel Dubois. Stunning performance. The celebrations in his corner with his family. Let's hear from his father, Dave. It's with Stacey Copeland.
Dave, try and sum up for me at the moment as you sit here in this immense stadium, having just watched not just any boxer, but your son make history in dramatic fashion. How are you feeling?
Unbelievable. You know, I'm so proud to be a part of something as mega as this. And I'm so proud that he delivered, as he said he was. He said he will knock him out. What round was it in?
4.
He said he will knock him out.
5.
But he did it a bit earlier. He did it in the 5th. So I just can't wait to go to bed and have a good night's sleep.
How proud, I don't think you're going to get much sleep tonight, Dave, put it that way, but how proud are you given the questions that were asked of Daniel, your son, of course, in previous fights? Then we saw him come through in really difficult circumstances against Jarrell Miller, and then, of course, the win against Hrgovic. How proud are you, not just of his victories, but that he's proved to everybody those questions and doubts that are asked of him?
I haven't no words to describe it. It's just someone growing in the public eye. And he's grown in the public eye. I always knew he could do it, and he's shown the world he's the real deal.
Well, you've really put a shift in. You're sweating as much as Daniel Dubois. How are you going to be celebrating tonight as a family?
Honestly, I'm going to bed. I haven't slept for a while.
Well, listen, congratulations. Enjoy every moment. All our best to all of the Dubois who are here tonight, and enjoy the moment, Dave.
What a character he is. Stanley Dubois, known as Dave from his market trader days. Market trader, everybody called him Dave, and everyone's called him Dave ever since. But then he got into this like sideline of selling posters, like that depicted like Black Britain and London scenes, and he shipped them over to New York. And suddenly he found that New Yorkers wanted to buy these posters. And Ron McIntosh, that's his story. But his son has made another story tonight.
That's his story indeed. But as you say, his son has very much been groomed for this, because one of 11 children, Daniel Dubois, and almost from the crib, he said as soon as he could walk, he had Daniel Dubois doing push-ups on his knuckles. He was a fantastic swimming champion, an all-round athlete. If you see both of these heavyweight pugilists tonight, they've both got scars on their knuckles. Anthony Joshua came from street fighting in North London. Daniel Dubois came from doing push-ups at the insistence of his father. His father has expounded on the fact, saying he wouldn't let him eat until he completed the task, and he would make the task a sickener. Another 10 for you, Daniel. Another 10 for you, Daniel. And he said that has instilled such a mental strength and resilience in his son. That's why he had no doubts that he would fulfill the potential that he has almost outlined and programmed for Daniel Dubois since the time he could walk. And as Shane McGuigan has pointed out, it's not just Daniel. Of the 11 children, Caroline's pretty good, Sullivan's pretty good, and Prince is pretty good as well. So we may be seeing more of these pugilistic prodigies in the ring in years to come. And Caroline Dubois already well on her way, but this very much Daniel Dubois' night And my goodness, what a performance.
And I'll tell you what, Ron, when he comes back here to Wembley Stadium and headlines in his own right, I want Solomon to be playing the saxophone rather than hearing Liam Gallagher singing, because he's a whiz on that as well. Shane McGuigan, where to start with breaking down what you were saying before the fight, contrasting with what we just saw? The fears of Dubois starting slowly. I mean, that was extraordinary, the way he started every round. He came flying out.
Yeah, I mean, I said to George, I said, you know, does Daniel just go out and rush him? And that's something that he did, and he got success. He landed. I mean, if they fought 10 times, would that be the same outcome 10 times? Definitely not. You know, the fact that he let his hands go early, AJ kept pulling out. I just can't believe he kept doing it. Even after getting knocked down in the first round, he still kept pulling out long. He actually had much more success defensively when he kept his hands up and was shortening the range with Dubois, but it was too little too late.
Let's go back to Stacey, who's actually with someone who's beaten the champion.
I am indeed, and that man is none other than Joe Joyce. Your thoughts initially on that? Were you surprised? Because around ringside, people have been saying they're absolutely shocked, not just at the win, but the manner of it. Were you shocked?
Yeah, I was very shocked. That was a great performance from Dubois. Like, he went straight about the business and set about him from the early bell, and I think he landed early on, and that kind of troubled Joshua. But Joshua, I thought he might have like gone for more of like try and tire him out. I kind of had that thought, but then when Daniel stepped in again and finished him off, man, that was. Yeah, it was explosive, man. Like them, you don't want to get hit cleanly by them shots.
He was at a career heaviest that he weighed in, and he did look huge tonight in there, Daniel Dubois. He said all week he was confident that he was going to come out and put it on AJ. Do you think those were the right tactics? Clearly it worked well for him. What didn't go right for AJ? What should he have done differently, do you think?
I think he needed to be a bit more on it and on the jab and move in a bit, but I don't know, he hit him with some good shots too. He had moments of where he's hitting him too, and he hits hard, so I wasn't sure how the fight was going to go, and I thought maybe he might have thrown that overhand right that he knocked
Wallin.
Sorry?
Otto Wallin or Ngannou?
No, Ngannou.
Ngannou knockout, yeah.
And I thought that might have been the danger shot, because I thought, but it was a great fight to watch, and what a big event, and congratulations to Dubois, man. He's improved, and I really enjoyed the night.
Well, just a final word on the occasion. I mean, you've been involved in some massive fights. This was on another level. Record attendance, we had fireworks, pyrotechnics, Liam Gallagher no less. What do you think this means for British boxing now?
Yeah, it's massive for British boxing. It's a packed out stadium. And I'm just excited to be in nights like this, really, and I'm excited to get back in the gym as well. I've had a time off, and I'm just ready, man. I'm so ready to get back in.
Well, after watching that tonight, it must have got your adrenaline going.
I'm kind of lost for words, because I need to watch that back, because there's some heavy punches landed in that fight, and I thought I wasn't sure which way it would go on the night, but this night decided everything.
It certainly did. Joe, best of luck for what's next. Thanks for chatting to us.
That's Joe Joyce talking to Stacey Copeland as Daniel Dubois finally leaves the ring, and his friends are lining the sort of corridor through the crowd to our right there, and so many people wanting to pat him on the back, smiles everywhere. What a night for Daniel Dubois. The inquest, I suppose, in the Joshua camp, George Groves, begins right now. I took a look at the punches thrown stats in that fourth round, when frankly it could have been stopped any time in that fourth round. He threw 8 punches in the first 2 minutes. 8 in total he threw. What is that? Why?
Well, I mean, there's prepping for a fight, and there's everything that you need to do and everything else, but all that will always go out the window when you've had the first round that Anthony Joshua's had in the first round. All the assessment of what Joshua did tonight needs to be in that first round before he gets knocked down, because once he's there, he's concussed. I'm convinced that if the bell didn't save him, the fight would have been over, yeah, because he would have got to his feet and Dubois would have found him. Dubois still super fresh and sharp in that first round.
One more second and it would have been a first round knockout.
I think so. So what went so wrong in those first 3 minutes, really? And Dubois started super sharp, which kind of doesn't surprise us, you know. His promoter Frank Warren's been saying all week he thinks it's Hagler Hearns, you know. I wouldn't surprise me if that stuff is subliminally sinking into Daniel's head and Daniel's thinking, right, well, that's it, I'm going to start fast. He did start fast. He found the range with the jab. As soon as you can start touching the guy in front of you, you know, landing leather on his chin, leather on his nose, that gives you so much confidence. First of all, the opponent who's getting hit, he's thinking, oh, I'm in punching range. You know, you don't like that. No fighter likes that, especially in the first round. And then once that big right hand comes over in the first round, Joshua's hit the canvas. He's been down before. He knows what that feeling's like. I'm sure the panic's setting in. And at that point, you're thinking, as long as Daniel Dubois can contain, not necessarily his excitement or his enthusiasm, but just contain his velocity coming forward and doesn't gas out or get caught on the way in, there's no way he can lose this fight.
It was an absolutely extraordinary display, and as you say, everything, as George has said, has to be caveated by the fact that Joshua was hit hard and hurt in that opening round. But it brought to my mind shades of his first defeat against Andy Ruiz, in that after his most notable success is when the tables got turned on him and the rot set in and he was taken out. So as he was having huge success in the fourth round, was it a last roll of the dice? We really don't know, but he was tagging Daniel Dubois with some heat seekers of right hands, real success. But then as he went for a shot once again, going forwards, doubling up the impact, and Daniel Dubois' overhand right, my goodness, it would have dropped a horse. And Anthony Joshua, face first on the canvas, valiantly trying to get back to his feet, testament to the fighting heart that he possesses, but everything was wiped out by what proved to be the finishing shot. But as George and Shane have already established, that rot set in what was a calamitous opening round for Anthony Joshua, the former two-time champ.
There were times, Shane, towards the end when we were seeing Anthony whispering in Daniel's ear. He stuck his tongue out at one point. It was almost like he was goading him. It crossed my mind that he was almost saying, well, I've survived. I've survived until now, and now the fight starts. Do you think there's any chance that that was what he really truly believed was about to happen?
I generally do believe that's the case. I mean, if you think about it, like Ali Foreman, he took away his biggest shots, but Ali wasn't, as George said, concussed after the first 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. You know, yes, he got walked onto a perfect shot like against Andy Ruiz, but he was well up against Andy Ruiz, getting a success, and that was out of the blue. He was going in for the finish, reckless, when he's concussed and he's been knocked down 4 times. It was just kamikaze. He should have tried to be patient, but listen, that's his fighting spirit. I didn't like what went on in the first round. He had no authority on his jab. He was pouring the jab to drop back, and he with his head right up in the air, and that has to be addressed. He's got a fantastic jab, and he never established it once, which is such a shame.
And again, we were all talking about AJ's back, AJ's rediscovered his mojo, but we have to look at the caliber of opponents where that mojo was re-established. And as Shane and George have pointed out right from the outset, that piston of a left jab from Daniel Dubois, boom, and it really got AJ's attention. And if there was any doubt and uncertainty that had been replaced by confidence, well, it seemed to resurface during the course of that opening round, and thereafter he was rather hesitant, and it was Daniel Dubois who appeared to be setting the terms and tempo and tenor of this contest. And remember, he, the less experienced boxer, despite the fact that he was the champion, but what a performance from Daniel Dubois. And we talked about the momentum that AJ came in with his destructive victories over Otto Wallin and the highlight reel KO of Francis Ngannou. But look at what Daniel Dubois has done. I was ringside commentating just before Christmas in the Kingdom Arena in Riyadh with the instructions and exhortations of his father Dave, getting him through that gut check, that mentality check against Jarrell Big Baby Miller, and then also when he came through against Hrgovic as an underdog, eating right hands as though they were candy, but came through it, and his cutting punches slashed up the face of the previously unbeaten Hrgovic to propel him to the status that he enjoyed tonight. So he has got momentum, belief, and just turned 27, remember. All of those setbacks have fortified him to the point and the performance that we saw this evening.
The reality is, as much as people are going to be celebrating and congratulating Dubois, people are going to be picking over the bones of Anthony Joshua tonight, George Groves. The reality is his last win was against a guy who'd only fought once as a professional, an MMA fighter. Joshua lost to Andy Ruiz. Okay, he did get revenge 6 months later. He lost twice to Alexander Usyk, and tonight he's lost to Daniel Dubois. I mean, this is going to sound harsh, but it's only a question. Where is Anthony Joshua's true level? Because he's not elite, is he? Because he's got those blemishes on his record.
Well, I think it's a little harsh, maybe. Yeah. Just because
I know.
No, I'm not going to lean into it. No, to be fair, when he's on form, you do watch him and think there's probably not many out there that can beat him. A lot, if you asked me to pick a winner before tonight, as I originally thought Joshua would win, as the fight got closer, I was swaying with thinking maybe Daniel, but I think the thing with Joshua, he's been a superstar for so long. Like, he was a superstar really before he was a superstar, and he commands a level of respect, and he's had that, and he's had that in abundance. And when he hasn't had it, or he's felt he hasn't had it, and we've sort of seen those little instances around the Usyk fights where maybe sort of started to implode a little bit, even down to tonight, he's walking in as the challenger with the status of the champion. He's walking in second. Yeah. He's walking in because he's the man. I'm the A side. I'm the boss.
I've sold the tickets.
Yeah, but I mean, if after this loss, it might be very difficult for him to now go back to the drawing board. If he goes back and he fights at a really lower level, like he did against Franklin, is that a fall from grace for him that he doesn't want to do? And if he stays at the higher level, can he command that same respect in the build-up during the fight? I think he needs that run. I think he's that sort of character.
I agree entirely, but what that is going to do for opponents, now that an opponent, even though Daniel Dubois was the champion, he was less experienced, that's going to give opponents so much encouragement, because there was a vulnerability that was exposed mercilessly in that opening round. If you're in the other corner now against Anthony Joshua, and remember, this is the heavyweight division where everybody can punch, you're going to think all it takes is one, and you can set in doubt, you can set in the rot, and perhaps help yourself to a famous victory over the man who is still the commercial king from this part of the world, which is going to do significant favors for the opponent's bank balance. So this is a big setback for Anthony Joshua. I don't think it's terminal by any stretch of the imagination, but it is going to be another rebuilding process. How much down the pecking order will he have to drop? Because as we've demonstrated, I think you could put him in a stadium and he's going to sell it out once again. But a significant setback endured by the man who was seeking to become a three-time heavyweight titleist here tonight.
Yeah, and he looked shell-shocked, didn't he? But did acknowledge at the end that he was beaten by the better man, who tonight needs celebrating one more time, because he is Daniel Dubois, only 27 years of age now, thoroughly confirmed as the IBF World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, he was given the belt, wasn't he, when Usyk gave it up? He's very much earned it and retained it tonight, Shane McGuigan. So what is his level? What is his potential now moving forward?
Daniel's potential is as we see, he's just a phenomenal athlete. He can punch with either hand, and once he believes in himself, as I said, he can beat anybody on the planet. But he can be easily outboxed, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody with a little bit of trickery and smarts can beat him in this next defence. The thing about the heavyweight division is, you match him wrong, he'll lose quick. So there's a load of good guys out there. It's just who you want to keep the belts with. And that's why we loved AJ. We loved keeping the belt with him, because he sold the arenas. He did so much for the sport. Daniel Dubois, he's got that air of like that vulnerability to him, and you just look at him and think, oh, I like that guy. He's got that nice smile. He's got that nice laugh. We can market that, but you just got to make sure you match him right, because a good slippery boxer can really cause problems for him. But he's super exciting. He can punch and he can knock guys out, and he's willing to do it with anybody.
George, what do you think? Could he beat Fury? Could he beat Usyk?
Well, we've seen the fight with Usyk, and Usyk, I think he's just that tier above everyone else in the division. Fury, you know, he might be getting Fury at the right time. Fury might be past his best. The reflexes might not quite be the same. And Dubois can punch. He's got a great jab, so he finds the range, and when he lands, he hurts him. He didn't need to throw a lot of body shots tonight, or maybe he just got distracted with the success he had to the chin. But there was after about round 4, there was the odd right hand that looped round and it landed just on the rib cage, and they're the shots that get neglected in the heavyweight division. That Daniel Dubois, when he throws, he's going to be very hard to beat. And you see him in with Fury, if he attacks the body, in his run of form and Furies, I wouldn't pick against Daniel Dubois.
And again, AJ's appeal came through that Olympic Games, superstar status conferred immediately, but a large part of his early appeal was that he went in there and knocked guys out. After the rumble with Klitschko here at Wembley back in 2017, he appeared to be a little more cautious. Now it's Daniel Dubois who seems to have inherited that mantle of the seek and destroy merchant.
Many thanks, Ron. Ronald McIntosh, George Groves, Shane McGuigan. It's been great to be in your company this evening. Thanks as well to Stacey Copeland and Manveer Rai as well at ringside. It's been an extraordinary night here inside Wembley Stadium. Tomorrow afternoon, amongst other delights, Manchester City Arsenal at 4:30. You can listen to that on Premier League Sunday. Here inside Wembley, we had Liam Gallagher on the stage for 15 minutes before Daniel Dubois stopped Anthony Joshua and retained his IBF World Heavyweight title. Tonight it is Dubois, very much the rock and roll star. From Wembley, it's good night.
The voice of the UK.
And the home of the Premier League.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.